Ebube Fix-It Mechanic Shop had a shining signpost and was lovely to look at, just like the owner, Ebube. Ebube wasn't just any mechanic. She was a mechanic sent from heaven, or at least that's what most men in the area claimed. With her smooth ebony skin, a smile that could jumpstart a dead car's battery, and a feminine curves so pronounced that they could rival the bends on Lagos Third Mainland Bridge, she was a phenomenon to watch. Oh, and did I mention she could strip an engine faster than most men could change a light bulb? But men didn't just bring their cars to Ebube for repairs. They brought their charm and money, all in effort to win her hearts. Let's start with Mr. Frederick, a bachelor in his late 30s who worked for a pharmaceutical company. Frederick had everything going for him: a stable job, a company car, and a knack for charming his way into a woman's heart. However, the moment he met Ebube, his brain took a permanent leave of absence. Frederick's colleague at work began to notice a strange pattern. The company car he drove always seemed to be in trouble. This week, it was the brakes. The next week, it was the gearbox. By the third week, he claimed the car was possessed. "Bros, now only you they use this car. Why they spoil every week?" his colleague Kunle asked one day. Frederick shrugged nonchalantly. "Quality control issue. I'm just lucky to have someone like Ebube to fix it," he replied. What Frederick didn't say was that he would intentionally drive right into potholes or pour sand right into the fuel tank just to create an excuse to visit Ebube's mechanic workshop. One fateful Tuesday, Frederick outdid himself. He deliberately drove the car into a ditch, causing the bumper to dangle like a crooked smile. When he arrived at Ebube's garage, he put on his most pitiful expression. "Ah, Miss Ebube, now my enemies, so they don't want me to drive in peace," Frederick lamented, clutching his chest like he just survived a Hollywood car chase. Ebube, wiping grease off her hands, looked at him with a raised eyebrow and asked, "Enemies, or you are the one wreaking havoc on your own car?" Frederick chuckled nervously. "Me? No, how can I? I just know this car loves your touch." Unimpressed, Ebube rolled her eyes and got to work, her tools clinking rhythmically. Frederick stood nearby, trying to think of ways to stretch the visit. And he said, Ebube, you know you are not like other women." Ebube didn't even look up and replied, "How? Am I not a woman or what?" No, that's not what I'm saying. You're a woman, but you are different. You are special," Frederick said. Then Ebube replied, "Like mentally unstable special or what?" Frederick was shocked and he quickly replied, "Of course not, my dear. All I'm saying is that you drive me crazy. You are the one driving this car crazy with the way you keep damaging it every week." This nonsense of Frederick deliberately damaging the car continued for weeks until the company accountant noticed the skyrocketing repair bills. A quick investigation revealed Frederick's ridiculous gains and he was promptly fired. When Frederick tried to explain himself, his boss cut him off. "So you mean to tell me you intentionally destroy company's property because you have a crush on a mechanic woman? Are you mad? Get out of my office. You are fired." Frederick quickly ran out of the office and went home a jobless man. Now next, let's talk about Mr. Tayo, a self-proclaimed retired hustler. By retired, we mean he's jobless, but that didn't stop him from living a life of a king on his wife's money. Tayo's wife, Bimbo, was a senior bank manager and the breadwinner of their household. She drove a sleek Honda CR-V, which Tayo frequently borrowed under the guise of running errands. What Bimbo didn't know was that these errands often involved him parking the car at Ebube Mechanic Workshop and faking mechanical issues. "Tayo, you are back again," Ebube asked one morning, hands on her well-curved hips. "Yes, so Ebube, this car, I don't know, the engine just sounds like it's crying," Tayo replied. Ebube raised an eyebrow and said, "The engine is crying?" Ebube asked, fighting back laughter. "Yes, like wah, wah, wah," Tayo mimicked. Ebube burst into laughter. "Tayo, are you sure it's not your brain that is crying?" Tayo grinned sheepishly. "You are too funny, Ebube. No wonder everyone loves you." Unknown to Tayo, Bimbo, his wife, was beginning to suspect foul play. The car repairs was draining her wallet, and her instincts told her something wasn't adding up. One day, she decided to follow Tayo secretly. When she arrived at Ebube's garage, she found him leaning on the car, grinning like a lovesick teenager as he talked to Ebube. Tayo, Bimbo's voice boomed like a thunderclap. Tayo froze, his smile evaporating faster than petrol in Hamatan. Ah, honey, you are here. I was just supervising the repairs. Supervising repairs? You don't even know how to change a car tire, Bimbo shouted. Then she walked up to Ebube and said, Madam Mechanic, are you the one eating our money? Ebube replied calmly, Madam, I don't eat money. I just had pounded yam for breakfast. The garage boys erupted in laughter, and Bimbo angrily dragged her husband, Tayo, away from the mechanic workshop, warning him never to come there again. Now, let me introduce you to Chief Odumodu, a man so wealthy that his nickname in the neighborhood is Mr. Money No Dey Finish. Chief was in his mid-50s, with a belly so round it seemed to have its own gravitational pull. He owned a fleet of cars that he didn't need but loved showing off. Chief's latest obsession wasn't his newly acquired Range Rover or his sprawling mansion in Lekki. No, it was Ebube. Her beauty had hit him harder than the potholes on Lagos Road, and he was determined to win her over. On this particular day, Chief Odumodu drove into the mechanic workshop, his abada blowing dramatically like he was auditioning for a Nollywood movie. Behind him was one of his drivers, looking bored out of his mind. Ah, my darling Ebube, Chief's voice boomed. I have arrived. Ebube looked at the chief unimpressed and said, Chief, you are here again. What is it this time? Chief feigned offense, clutching his chest. Ah, can't a man visit his future wife without an agenda? Future wife, Ke. Chief, I beg, no starts today. I am very busy. But I brought my car, Chief gestured dramatically to his shining brand new Benz. I think it needs an oil change. Ebube wiped her hand on her rag. Chief, this car is barely a month old. It doesn't need an oil change. Chief wasn't discouraged, and he continued. Who are we to argue with the car's feeling? Maybe it's crying for your touch, just like my heart is crying for your touch. Ebube rolled her eyes so hard they nearly got stuck. Chief, you know nothing about cars, and I'm telling you, your car doesn't need oil change at this stage. Please take it home. But Chief wasn't going down without a fight. He leaned in closer, lowering his voice, and said, Ebube, why are you resisting me? I can give you everything you want. Cars, houses, trips to Dubai. Ebube smirked and replied, what if all I want is peace of mind? Chief froze as if someone had just told him jollof rice was banned in Nigeria, and he said, peace of mind? Ah, my dear, even I myself with all my money, I don't have peace of mind, so I can't give that to you. Ebube turned back to her work, and the chief stood by, hoping to get another chance to talk to her. Meanwhile, parked a little away from Ebube's mechanic workshop is Mr. Frederick, who was hiding in his second-hand Toyota, watching the exchange between the chief and Ebube through binoculars. Yes, binoculars. The man had been fired from his job, but was still investing his time and remaining savings in what he called Ebube surveillance operation. So is this Chief Odumodu that is my competition? Look at his stomach. He can't even bend down to check his car tire pressure. But Frederick wasn't the only one spying. Tayo, freshly disgraced by his wife, had somehow found his way back. He was sitting under a mango tree, waiting for an opportunity to redeem himself, or more accurately, to talk to Ebube again. When Tayo spotted Chief Odumodu, the popular wealthy man in the city, he shook his head in disgust and whispered to himself, this old chief is also interested in Ebube? Ha! Ebube doesn't deserve all these unserious men. What she needs is someone like me, humble, handsome, jobless, but available. As Chief Odumodu finally drove off, leaving behind a cloud of dust and empty promises, Frederick and Tayo both made their moves. Ebube, Frederick called, rushing into the mechanic workshop. with a fake limp. Ah, my leg is paining me. I think it's because my car suspension is bad. Can you check it for me? Suspension? Tayo interrupted, strolling in with fake confidence. Ebube, don't listen to him. This man doesn't even know the difference between suspension and a bumper. Oh, and you do? Frederick fired back. Yes, unlike you, I actually understand cars, Tayo replied proudly. Then why are you always here when your wife's car is perfectly fine? Frederick asked with a sneer. Tayo froze and stammered, well, the thing is, Ebube, who had been watching them bicker like schoolboys, burst out laughing. You two are unbelievable. Do you think I don't know what you are up to? All this nonsense about cars needing repairs. I beg, go and fix your lies first before you think about me. The men stood there with their mouths open in shock as Ebube turned back to continue her work. Did she just insult us? Frederick asked. She did, Tayo replied. And why do I still find her attractive? Frederick asked again. Maybe you are mad like me, Tayo replied once again. The two men sighed, realizing they were madly infatuated with Ebube. And even though they needed deliverance, they were, however, satisfied with their sickness of desiring her. The scene at Ebube's mechanic workshop was now more dramatic than a Yoruba wedding party. The men who had been competing for her attention, Chief Odumodu, Mr. Frederick, and Tayo, were all gathered there. This wasn't a coincidence. Ebube had called them all to her workshop for a special announcement. They arrived promptly, each man convinced he had finally won her heart. Chief Odumodu wore a fine native dress, looking like a sachet of powdered milk about to burst. Ebube stood in the center of her workshop, her radiant beauty enhanced by the grease stains on her jumpsuit. She wiped her hands on a rag and smiled at the trio and said, "Gentlemen, I've gathered you here today to address a very important matter." Chief adjusted his agbada and said, "Ah, my darling, this must be about the wedding plans, Abi? Don't worry, I've already booked the hall." Ebube looked at the chief and smiled calmly and said to the men, "Do you know what's funny?" Ebube began, her voice calm but firm. "The three of you have been coming here for months, wasting time, money, and let's be honest, your dignity, all because you think you are in love with me." Chief clutched his chest dramatically. But I'm in love with you, my dear." Ebube raised an eyebrow. "Are you? Or are you in love with the idea of me?" Tayo, ever the opportunist, jumped in. "See? She's talking about you too. I am the real deal. I am the guy that knows the meaning of true love." "Quiet, Tayo," Ebube said, silencing him with a glare. "Let me break it down for all of you. What you feel isn't love. It's lust. Lust makes you intentionally damage your cars and waste money on oil changes that your car doesn't need. Lust makes you cheat on your wife, like Mr. Tayo here, who is desperately wanting to break his marriage with infidelity. But love, yes, real love, on the other hand, is selfless. Love gives and doesn't expect anything in return." Frederick scratched his head and asked, "But Ebube, if it's not love, then what do I feel? Why do I feel this way? Why do I dream about you fixing my car at night?" "Because you are confused," Ebube replied to him like she was replying a 6-year-old boy that lost his soccer ball. And she continued addressing the three men. "You see my pretty face and attractive curves and think it's your heart talking, but it's your lustful nature playing tricks on you." Before they could respond, a young man walked into the workshop. He was tall, muscular, and carried the confident air of someone who believed in his abilities. And yet, there was something humble about him. He wore a simple white t-shirt and jeans, but something about him screamed authenticity. "Ah, my love, you are here," Ebube exclaimed, her entire face lightening up. The men froze. Who is this?" Chief stammered. "This," Ebube said, "is Chuka, my fiancé." The silence that followed was deafening. Chuka, unaware of the chaos he had walked into, smiled politely and said, "Nice to meet you all. I've heard so much about Ebube's customers." The sarcasm in his voice wasn't lost on them. Chief Odumodu was the first to recover, and he said, "Wait, wait, wait. You are marrying this boy? What can he offer you that I can't?" Ebube smiled and replied, "Love, Chief, real love. Chuka offers me everything I desire in a man. Not trips to Dubai or unnecessary oil changes, but real, genuine love. And guess what? He doesn't need to bash his car intentionally just to prove his love for me." Tayo tried to protest and said, "But I've been coming here every week. I even used your wife's car as a tool for flirting." Ebube interjected, and she continued, "Yes, Tayo, I know. And let me tell you something. No woman respects a man who doesn't respect himself or his wife." Frederick, clutching his chest, muttered, "So all this that I went through, lost my job and everything, was for nothing?" "No," Ebube said with a grin. "It wasn't for nothing. You learned a valuable lesson today. Don't mistake lust for love. And maybe, just maybe, stop destroying company cars intentionally." As the men left the workshop, defeated and embarrassed, Ebube and Chuka shared a laugh. "Do you think they will learn their lesson?" Chuka asked. Ebube shrugged and replied, "Probably not." The day ended with Ebube and Chuka driving off into the sunset in a well-maintained sports car. As for Frederick and Tayo, they spent the rest of the day at home, nursing their bruised egos and learning to fix their lives instead of their cars.